What is going on, you guys? My name is Rage and we are back today with a quick event overview video for now Morbius being in the game, his shards being unlockable. It is outlined here, as you can see, 2 milestones being Fangs Out and the Living Vampire event. So how this really works is in order to generate Morbius fragments and shards, you have to actually be able to open these orbs here that are outlined as the Mystic Assassin. And how you go about in getting those Mystic Assassin orbs is actually from this Fangs Out milestone here that you see to the left. So really with this, we need to understand, how do you generate points so that way you can obviously get fragments, which ultimately then turn into orbs, translating to Morbius shards. So if you hit scoring here, you can see the outline detail is that we have to spend campaign energy, which is worth 1 point, and as well winning or losing. And keep in mind, that's very important, right? The raid battle generating 100 points. And I like to highlight that attention to losing because that doesn't necessarily mean you need to win, right? That means even if you're stuck in a certain node and you just want to throw a character in there, you're still going to generate 100 points. So really, with that being said, raid battles are really where you're going to generate the most and the majority of your progression being made. Yes, campaign energy can add up. You may have saved a couple of those the mail events from the web store, but ultimately it is going to be making sure that you do your daily raid battles on throughout your alliance and ensuring that you're making progress there, because that's ultimately what's going to push you through. So as you can see, this event runs for 4 days. At the time of recording, we got 3 days, 5 hours left. I've already hit milestone 5. So very, very free to play friendly. You should have no issues hitting this because each day you should be about, every day you should be at about 5 milestones. So by the end of tomorrow, I should be at 10, and then 15, and then 20 being the last of it. So that's a good little way to track. And keep in mind, 4 days, once that ends, the next milestone will be called the Flesh and Blood milestone, right? So that is on the blog post, but essentially that's going to be more of a blitz event to generate points. So that's going to get factored in as well for the Living Vampire, but it will be interesting to see how that's going to shake out in terms of, does that give you the same value as the Fangs Out milestone? So that said, with opening the Mystic Assassin orbs, ultimately that's going to generate you a lot of rewards here. So I think overall this is a very free to play friendly event. If you guys make sure that you're using campaign energy, getting those refreshes daily, and as well as making sure that you're doing your raid battles, continuing that progress through your alliance, you should have no issue hitting that. And when all that's said and done, with all the progression that's made, you should be around anywhere from milestone 32, 33, around that ballpark. And this is going to be that range where you would be able to unlock Morbius at 3 yellow stars. Now that said, following that, we do need to assess how the impact of the Flesh and Blood milestones will be, because that's going to run for another 4 days, right? And we're not really sure yet, what the rewards would be. Is it going to be overall the same? If it's going to be the same, ultimately as the Fangs Out milestone, then yeah, I would say, there should be a good comfort level that most free-to-play players should be able to unlock Morbius at at least 3 yellow, and ultimately 4 is the goal, right? Because that's how many shards there are, but we're not really sure. After that milestone 32, 33 mark, that's where it's going to get interesting. And keep in mind, you guys, I guess the caveat here is, at the end of the day, this is a Morbius event, but, remember, these teal fragments here that we need for Dark Dimension 5, they are important at the end of the day. You can see there's some notable uniques, such as 20 miasmas. So, I mean, overall, it's a good event whenever there's, free rewards. Unfortunately, I know a lot of players do, strive and want to get to the very bottom and ultimately unlock every milestone, but it's not going to be feasible without spending power cores and potentially even paying a little bit of money in order to get additional orb fragments to unlock that. So, I mean, overall, that's going to be your guys' choice, but I think most players should end up with the 3 yellow at least, the bare minimum, and that's going to give you some value here, especially with the gear and materials, right? But again, want to reiterate, we're not going to be sure until the Flesh and Blood milestone event does come out with the description of the rewards, because ideally this is going to be able to unlock one piece of it, and then with that Blitz component, it is going to require the Mystic Spirit Slayer characters, so that way it's going to get value there. So just make sure you guys are using campaign energy, refreshing when you can, and as well ensuring that you're doing the daily raids. That said, my other comments, unfortunately, with the orbs that we're getting from this being the Mystic Assassin, as you can see here, you can see the detailed breakdowns by random shards, and it's definitely been far like one of the worst orbs here. It's not going to add a lot of value because you can see here, this is all the characters that are listed, and honestly speaking, you only get a couple shards with very minimal gold, and really the only character that's kind of worth noting here is Cloak. But Cloak, he's already been recently added to the raid store, he's been added to the Greek raid, so I mean, ultimately we're getting a character that's already quite farmable in the game. So I wouldn't focus too much on the orbs, unfortunately, you guys. At the end of the day, it was a little short-sighted that they provided an orb where, you know, not a lot of players will be excited for. It's really just needed to, you know, progress through the milestones and ensuring that we can get Morbius unlocked as free to play. So overall, you know, not as bad as Thanos Giving and whatnot, because we actually do get some pretty decent rewards here. But I would say this is definitely a step up from the Echo event, but we still need to make that better for free to play players, in my opinion, just because, you know, a lot of players are still going to be pushing through. And, you know, again, a lot of people are also exhausted from the blitzing, right? It would be nice if they can implement another milestone where perhaps it can be a different approach. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts and concerns? But ultimately, I'm just going to continue doing what I can do, going through my raids, using energy, and at the end of the day, if I can get a 3 yellow Morbius, that's ultimately the goal here, and we'll see if we can get any further milestones as a result of the flesh and blood. As well, you guys, just as a quick reminder, don't forget to actually hit up the web store here, because this is where you're actually going to be able to get more fragments as well. So make sure that you guys are going through and going to the blog and ensuring that you're doing at least one arena battle. If you're using power cores, you know, that's all going to add up over time for these next 4 days. So make sure you guys remember to do that, because it will give you a couple orb fragments for those orbs there. Hope you guys enjoyed this quick and brief video over the event, and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you as always, and I'll see you guys in the next one.